The Lord saw how great the wickedness of the human race had become on the earth, and on that every indication of thoughts of the human heart was only evil. All the time the Lord regretted that he had made a human beings on the earth, and his heart was deeply troubled.
I will wipe from the face of the earth the human race that I have created, and with them the animals, the birds, and the creatures that move along the ground, for I regret that I have made them.
However, there was one man who found favor in the eyes of the Lord, Noah. God chose to spare this man.
Noah, soon I am going to flood the earth, destroying every living being. So construct a strong cypress boat. Make it 300 cubits long, 50 cubits wide, and 30 cubits high. After building this boat, bring 2 of all living creatures on the boat, and every edible food. I wish the best of luck to you and your family.
Noah listened to everything God commanded and got to work.
Good work, Noah. Now bring your family and all of the animals into the ark. In 7 days I will send rain on earth for 40 days and 40 nights, and I will wipe them from the earth, every living creature.
Yes, my lord.
For the next 40 days, the floods poured down on earth. As the water rose to the ark began to rise further into the air, every living thing on earth perished. Noah, his family, and his animals were the only living things left.
I have successfully destroyed life on earth. It has been 150 days. It is time to end this flood.
Then God sent out a powerful wind over the earth, clearing all the water off of the earth. He stopped the rain from the sky, and after 150 days, the water had left.
It has been 40 days since the water left. It's time to send out the birds.
The raven and the dove found nowhere to land, and so they returned to the ark. 7 days later, he tried again.
All right. Send out the dove.
When the dove returned, it carried with it an olive leaf, alerting Noah that the water had receded from the earth.
Noah, it is time to come out of the ark. It is safe for you, your family, and the animals to be on this earth again.
Thank you, God, for sparing me and my family's life. I promise to build an altar in your name. I sacrifice this for you, Lord.
Thank you, Noah, for this. I promise to never again curse the ground because of humans, even though every inclination of the human heart is evil from childhood, and never again will I destroy all living creatures as I have done.
This Nissan Pathfinder commercial alludes to the biblical allusion of Noah's Ark through its portrayal of the story. Without knowledge of the story of Noah's Ark, the viewer would have trouble understanding the intended message of the car being portrayed as reliable and safe. We can infer this as the intended message due to the comparison of the car to the ark, which saved life on earth. This political cartoon comments on the injustice of wealth in America and how the wealthy are able to use their money as an unfair advantage over others. Without an understanding of the story of Noah's Ark, the viewer would be unable to comprehend the message of the cartoon due to their inability to understand the advantage of wealth as depicted in this cartoon. This cartoon depicts the rich buying salvation from the flood through the boarding of the ark.
Jonah, go to the great city of Nineveh and preach against it, because its wickedness has come up before me.
But Jonah wouldn't listen, and he chose to run away from the Lord, instead choosing to run away and to sail to Tarshish.
I will not let this blatant disrespect go unpunished. Jonah will be reprimanded for his actions. Send in the winds and a storm.
At God's command, a storm began to brew. The frightened sailors prayed for their lives to be spared, attempting to find the source of their misfortune. They threw cargo out of the ship, attempting to lighten the load, but nothing worked. They searched and searched until they found Jonah sleeping peacefully below the deck he realized it was him who was causing God's rage.
Who are you? Where do you come from? Why is God causing this?
I am Jonah. I am a Hebrew man who angered God.
As the sea grew more violent, the crew began to worry and became desperate.
What can we do to calm the sea and please God?
Pick me up and throw me into the sea, and it will become calm. I know that it is my fault that this great storm has come upon you.
However, the men refused and did their best to row back to land. Fortunately, it was pointless, and they realized throwing Jonah was their only option.
Please, Lord, do not let us die for taking this man's life. Do not hold us accountable for killing an innocent man, for you, Lord, have done as you pleased.
Then the men grabbed Jonah and threw him into the raging sea. Jonah hit the water. He was swallowed by a giant fish who held him captive in his belly for 3 days and 3 nights. While captive, he prayed to God for forgiveness.
In my distress I called to the Lord, and he answered me. From deep in the realm of the dead I called for help, and you listened to my cry. You hurled me into the depths, into the very heart of the seas, and the currents swirled about me. All your waves and breakers swept over me. I said, I have been banished from your sight, yet I will look again towards your holy temple. The engulfing waters threatened me, the deep surrounded me, seaweed was wrapped around my head. To the roots of the mountains I sank down, the earth beneath bared my feet, me in forever. But you, my Lord, my God, brought my life up from the pit. When my life was ebbing away, I remembered you, Lord, and my prayer rose to you, to your holy temple. Those who cling to worthless idols turn away from God's love for them. But I, with shouts of grateful praise, will sacrifice to you. What I have vowed, I will make good. I will say, salvation comes from the Lord.
When God heard this plea, he commanded the fish to vomit Jonah onto dry land.
Now that I have given you mercy, I command you to go to the great city of Nineveh and proclaim the message I
Jonah
give you.
obeyed these directions and traveled to Nineveh to deliver the message.
40 more days, and Nineveh will be overthrown.
The citizens and the king believed Jonah, and eventually the king commanded,
By the decree of the king and his nobles, do not let people or animals, herds or flocks, taste anything. Do not let them eat or drink, but let people and animals be covered with sackcloth. Let everyone call urgently on God. Let them give up their evil ways and their violence. Who knows? God may yet relent and with compassion turn from a fierce anger so that we will not perish.
When God heard this drastic change made by the people of Nineveh, he chose to spare their lives and not bring destruction to the city.
In the novel Moby Dick, the author alludes to the biblical story of Jonah through the death of the main character, Captain Ahab. Ahab, like Jonah, goes against common sense through his desire to hunt Moby Dick, just like Jonah going against common sense by disobeying God. In addition, both Ahab and Jonah put the lives of others at risk through Ahab bringing his crew on its treacherous journey and Jonah fleeing on a ship filled with innocent people. Finally, while Jonah is swallowed by a large fish and eventually spit out on land after repenting to God, Ahab is dragged down and drowned by Moby Dick. Without knowledge of the story of Jonah, the reader would be unable to understand the author's message of Ahab being unable to change the surrender, this fantasy of catching Moby Dick causing pain and his death, while Jonah was spared due to his acceptance of God's wishes.
This political cartoon alludes to the story of Jonah due to the correlations between fish and the lesson it's trying to teach the audience. Both Jonah and the political cartoon feature a large fish that represents the force of a powerful institution such as government and God. Just like Jonah, the privately owned company wants to remain independent. However, the powerful institution wants them to obey. Without knowledge of the story of Jonah, the viewer would be unable to comprehend the idea of the privately owned company wants for independence and the power for the government being represented as or compared to God.